have to aim over here? Over there. Okay.
Hello, good evening, everyone. This is the Integrated Plan Implementation Consent Order Quarterly Report Public Meeting for 2024 second quarter for April 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2024. I'm going to go through the opening remarks as well as introductions. My name is Chris Levesque, Chief Operating Officer. Also presenting today is Jason Waterbury, Assistant Manager of Engineering, and Jeff King, our Diversity Specialist Manager. Going through next is our meeting purpose. So we're going to provide a quarterly update on MDC's integrated plan with current focus on North Hartford. Jason, if you can go to the next slide real quick. Oh, sorry.
You gotta go presentation mode. There we go. So do you want this one?
Give me 1 sec. Sorry.
Oh, you gotta share.
Too many computers in front of me.
Thanks, Jason. So our quarterly update is going to focus on projects completed and under construction, a schedule for the projects under construction and yet to start, and then as well as a status update on minority and disadvantaged business enterprises, our efforts to promote that as well as our local workforce recruitment and the performance numbers on that. Just a reminder, our next quarterly report meeting will be December 12th, 2024. Following the meeting, we'll have opportunity for public comments and questions. Again, background on our presentation. This will be a good focus on our North Hartford projects. Also our consent order reporting requirements, provided we're going to be presenting our performance indicators required that as part of our consent order within this presentation for quarter 2, 2024, as well as the figures related to our recruitment efforts for small disadvantaged minority businesses, as well as our contribution from MBE, WB, and DBE participation on our projects. And then we'll have a closing remarks session as well. Jason.
Thank you, Chris. We've modified this slide a little bit. Shown on the upper right-hand side is the footprint for North Hartford. We wanted to highlight Durham Street. As you know, back in May of 2023, the district committed to having a shovel in the ground by July 2023. The goal was met, and really was met on Durham Street. So just some pictures on this is just highlighting some of the construction progress as Durham Street progressed along. While not completed in quarter 2 completely, but Durham Street Public and Private has been done well ahead of the milestone, which I'll get to later on in this presentation. Shown on this slide is the 4 requirements that we have to present as part of our consent order quarterly updates. There's no changes from prior presentations, as there's no specific requests from DEEP for any special items. This slide is our project status and schedule update as of the end of quarter 2. A couple key things. You'll see there's 3 projects that are shown in green. Those projects are the lining on Bloomfield North Branch Park River area, Durham Street's right-of-way work, and the Woodstock Branford Street area right-of-way work. Also of note, while they're complete, they're shown well ahead of the red diamonds to the right of them. That means they're ahead of schedule in regards to the consent order deadline. You'll also see on this slide we've updated the color scheme to show projects that are in design and when we expect them to go to construction. There's 3 projects on here that are shown as going into construction quarter 3. So you would expect when we give that update in December, those projects will be shown in construction. Excuse me, sorry. This slide has not changed as far as what extra work has triggered the request for a milestone update with DEEP. We're still working with DEEP on those schedule adjustments. We've consolidated what was 3 slides into one as the quantities and the reasoning has not changed. We have added a table on this slide that shows the current milestones for projects that we're asking for changes in schedule on, as well as the proposed schedule change dates. The projects on here are the Westland Street and Windsor Street projects as far as right-of-way and for private property work. And then also the 18-inch brick project, which I'll get to in a second. Currently, right now, the Westland Street project is in construction, the right-of-way work that is. So we do still expect that project to complete by the end of 2025. The Windsor Street project is in design, and we expect that right-of-way project to go into bidding the end of 24 or early 2025, with that project completing construction latter half of 2026. And then for the 18-inch brick project, due to some complexities within the scope of that project, we split that project into two parts. The first part is in construction now, and we expect it to be complete in early 2024, which would be well ahead of its early 2025, which would be ahead of its end of 2025 deadline. The second part of the project is in design right now, and we expect that to go into advertisement for construction in early 2025. So hence, that's why that project has a request for an extension. So we're essentially adding a project or splitting a project into two parts because of the milestone management. Shown on the next two slides are some construction photos, just some progress updates through Q2. This slide shows some work on Durham Street, including a new manhole install that was done for the storm drainage that we put in, a water service renewal. And then we've also, when we completed the Durham Street project, obviously in Q3, not completing Q2 for public and private, we came up with this fact flyer that we introduced at our board meeting, and it was available for the public. They wanted us to see what the project statistics were, its schedule, and what kind of went into the project, and highlighting it. And we've added that to this slide, just for PR and for public to see. This second slide shows more construction progress photos. You've got it says CIPP work, that's secured in place pipe. We also we routinely refer to that as lining work. So you've got some lining work photos in the North Branch Park River area on the left-hand side, two of them. One shows the liner coming off the truck, and the second one shows how that equipment is used to insert the liner into the manhole. And then in the middle, you've got a sewer point repair on the Woodstock Branford project area. And then followed by that, you've got a picture showing a new storm lateral being installed also in the Woodstock Branford project area. Excuse me. This slide hasn't substantially changed from prior presentations in its format or in its content. However, we did reformat this slide based on some feedback we received, so all the neighborhoods are lumped together and it's a little easier to see. We've also kind of extended the screen a little bit. And then more importantly, you'll see 3 projects are highlighted in green. Those 3 projects were completed in Q2. And then you'll, later on in a couple slides when we get to the CSO reduction or CSO overflow reduction progress, the values from this slide, whether it be for the 1-year storm or our typical year, were then used to update those metrics, and you'll start to see progress over time as more projects show up as green on this slide. And then outside of Hartford, or outside the consent order, that is, in Q2, the key points were that we have now lined almost 2 miles of sewer main on our on-call sewer program that's shown underneath the 3rd bullet. And then the other key highlight in Q2, in the easement sewer rehab bullet, we've while Bloomfield Phase 1 has been completed for easement sewer rehab, we've now started the design on the subsequent phases, and that project is expected to continue design through most of 2025, and then go into bidding. It's going to be a large sewer rehab project that'll complete all of our sewer easement areas in Bloomfield. Now, as I toggle through this, I'll highlight some of the key changes. These are the consent order projects in North Hartford. We've got the expedited sewer separation projects. They're shown in gray on the screen right now. Again, Durham Street in the top left is complete. This is the right-of-way work. Woodstock Branford is also complete. That's the one in the middle, kind of to the down right, if you're looking at Durham. And then the next one to the right is in a cross shape is the Westland Garden Street area. That's in construction right now. And then farthest one to the right is the Windsor Street project area, which is in design and moving into construction sometime in 2025. And then another key change from Q1 is we now show the private property work in construction, and that's because through Q2, the private property separation work had started on the Durham Street area. And then again, and similar to prior presentations, highlighted in red are the areas that were added to the expedited sewer separation project areas. That has not changed. The Tower Avenue area is still in construction, but is expected to complete in Q3 or Q4 of 2024. Moving ahead, we've got the North Branch Park River area sewer project. That's in construction and will be in construction through some portion through 2026. The North Meadows project area has now gone into construction and also will finish up in late 2025. And then we've got the Gully Brook area, which as of the end of Q2 had not yet moved into construction. And then finally, we've got the North Branch Park River area study. I have a slide dedicated just to that, so I'll go into more details when we get to that slide. And then as subsequent to that study is the Granbury 789 sewer separation area. The design or the start of the design of that is really going to be predicated on when the study is complete and all the recommendations and key decisions are made. This slide is consistent with what's been shown in the last couple of presentations as far as showing property owners how to participate in the sewer backup prevention program or the sewer house connection program. We did add a table to this slide showing pending permit approvals. When the district does do private property work, each individual property we need to obtain a permit from the local building officials to get that work accepted and then progress through construction and underway. While some of those permit applications are older or younger than others, through the end of Q2, we are still waiting for a number of permits, obviously mostly in Hartford because that's where most of the work is occurring right now. But until those permits are issued by the local municipality, that private property work cannot proceed. Moving to the consent order project work outside of North Hartford, we've got the two 18-inch brick projects, which are shown as Part 1 and Part 2. As of the end of Q2, they were both still in design. We've now got the Gully Brook area sewer rehab project that's shown in the middle. It's not the same as the large gully area that we show, as this is a little more south of North Hartford. That's still in construction. And then we've got the Bloomfield North Branch area sewer rehab, which is a separate project of the North Branch Park River area project. And that project is now complete. And you'll see it on the next slide again because it shows up in two different towns. And then also the tunnel is still in construction right now. And moving along, we've got N30 is now moved into construction. It's a small rehab project off of Farmington Avenue. And then that's the collective of the group outside of North Hartford. And then moving into projects outside of Hartford that are consent order projects. The only change on this is that Bloomfield North Branch Park River area has now, that project is now complete. As of the end of Q2, West Hartford SCS had not yet moved into construction. Now to talk about the North Branch Park River area study. Within Q2, some key items some key activities that were completed. CDM Smith, which is the consultant that's working for the city and the district on this project, did present its preliminary findings to both of us in Q2. Multiple presentations, both given to staff and then as well as to senior management for both the city and the district, as well as to the Greater Hartford Flood Commission. Within that presentation, showed some options for the district as far as sewer separation work with possible new outfalls that might be required, as well as some recommendations to the city of Hartford for some capacity improvements that the city should consider implementing within the North Branch Park River area corridor. The final reports that'll really give more meat to those recommendations, as well as cost estimates, are due to us, both the city and the district, in Q3. And once those reports are submitted, both the district and the city will review and then have to make some decisions as to, on the city side, what improvements it will choose to do and when for the river. And then corresponding to that, the district will have to then decide whether or not new outfalls will be needed, and whether or not those projects will proceed and what schedule that'll be. The next two slides, the format's the same from the prior presentations. However, you'll see significant increases in quantities of work in Q2 compared to Q1. On this slide, district-wide, we doubled our backwater valve installations in Q2 when compared to Q1, and we quadrupled the number of private property internal disconnects in Q2 compared to Q1. You also see, we now have completed sewer separation work at 16 properties district-wide. Those 16 properties are all in North Hartford, so you'll see that same number on the next slide. In North Hartford, again, the 16 properties that had sewer separation work. We also doubled in North Hartford the internal disconnects when compared to prior quarters, Q1, and we quadrupled the backwater valve installation work, and the sewer rehab work was also significantly increased, as that number at Q2 is about 9,000 feet higher than it was compared to Q1. And those numbers will continue to really jump as more projects are just ramping up in construction. As I referenced on that table with the CSO reductions, you'll start to see increases on this side, which is N2 and N4, and also the CSO reductions on the next slide, which is Gully and North Meadows. Because of that, we now have modified these two slides to show a baseline as to where we were when we started this program in Q3 of 2023 and where we are now. So you'll see slight increases when you look at, say, the typical year storm, the left-hand bar where it says 0.4 mg compared to the right-hand bar where it says 0.6 mg. So what that means is in Q2, we had some, or actually to date, but it was all Q2, we increased our CSO reductions for a one-year storm by 0.2 million gallons. And then you could do, obviously the same math would apply to the typical year and then the elimination storm. And then in similar fashion, we have increases on Gully Brook and North Meadows. The increases don't look quite as big, in part because not as much work has been completed in these two sewer sheds, but also because the scales of CSO reductions on a sewer shed is much bigger than when looking at individual CSO regulators. And again, through time, these numbers are going to go up. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff.
Thank you, Jason. So we have great news for Q2. We made a lot of progress with our community outreach by opening our community outreach office. We had the ribbon cutting event on May 15th. The office is well staffed by the outreach staff and outreach consultants, where they are providing information on schedule updates, activities around improvements on private property, as well as using the office to do mailings, door-to-door notifications, and having meetings throughout the different durations of the project so we can keep the residents and businesses up to date. In addition to that, attending the regularly scheduled NRZ meetings to provide project updates and to get feedback from the community. If you want any updates on the MDC projects in North Hartford, you can visit our website, themdc.org. In addition to all the outreach done in that office, we're also doing career development for the compliance of the Hartford resident goal, where we are doing mock interviews with residents who walk in to see who's up to speed with instant matchmaking, or just providing feedback or assistance on what the latest hiring standards are for the market. So we encourage people, if you're looking for work or contractors looking to do any matchmaking, you can call Carlos Bravo or myself, or visit us at the outreach office. Next slide. So with our procurement department and MDC staff, we've been doing ongoing support to help strengthen our DBE contractors. With the same partners, we're holding our monthly clinics to help with DAS certification, providing guidance through that whole process. There's also a SAM.gov ID requirement, which is a new security feature. So we're helping contractors recertify and new contractors navigate that system. In addition, we're continuing to strengthen relationships with the vendors and contractors on the backwater valve project and house connection project. Doing any promoting job opportunities, whether it's an online seminar or working with the DBE contractors who need help with having credit to buy equipment and materials with major distributors like FW Web, or any financial needs or any financial needs they might have with local banking like HEDCO. Additionally, we're going to continue to keep on training new contractors and existing contractors on MDC standards for backwater valve and house connection work. So, everything's being installed per standards. Next slide. So with all the partnerships that we have been doing throughout the last 3 quarters, these are the events that we attended in Q2. I won't read through the whole list, but the major noteworthy ones are the Capital Community College Job Fair. We were able to meet with that CEO of Capital Community College to talk about opportunities surrounding water and wastewater certification training, as well as Makerspace. That's another Hartford-based organization that's providing a 10-week program on skilled trades, anywhere from anything from textiles to carpentry. So again, we're meeting some great organizations and promoting bidding opportunities and matchmaking for people that are looking for employment. Next slide. So one of our major highlights for Q2 is our Tri-Trade event. MDC partnered with Connecticut Pre-Apprenticeship, which is a big union organization, as well as Connecticut DOT. And during the week of April vacation, we had 11 high school students that graduated with their Flagger certification, which they could use for instant employment. We'll report more on the success of that event in next quarter, but we've strengthened some really strong partnerships with Connecticut Pre-Apprenticeship and all the unions you can see, from the laborers to carpenters union, in addition to promoting the success through the Minority Construction Council's award ceremony that we attended back in May. So, we're expanding our workforce development initiatives. So we're actually looking to now take the Tri-Trade event and mesh that into work-based learning for employment opportunities at the MDC. So we're expanding out, talking to the Connecticut Technical Career System schools to have a platform, like a one-stop shop where employers and the schools and the graduates and undergraduates can communicate together as far as job opportunities, as well as the handshake portal that a lot of the colleges are using in the tri-state area, so we can focus more on engineering and construction management opportunity positions that are out there for students looking for college credits. So again, we're continuing to strengthen our partnerships, and we have a couple things in the pipeline, one being with Capital Workforce Partners, where we can find any training opportunities with veterans or second chance citizens, as well as, again, trying to see what kind of opportunities we can give to Hartford residents surrounding online training for the Sacramento University program, which is the primary provider for the water and wastewater treatment operator license. Next slide. So where are we? For Q2, our metrics are, we're meeting our Hartford resident 30% goal. We've employed a lot of people through the workforce development and contractor opportunities for the North Hartford pilot project. So we've had 4 Hartford residents hired by MDC contractors this quarter. We have 1 Hartford contractor who's an MBE working on the backwater valve program, and 2 Hartford residents through that backwater valve program and house connection program. We've got 2 residents that are now looking at long-term employment by having work in their own backyard. So as you can see, the total to-date numbers are looking pretty strong. So we'll continue to try to grow that as the quarters go along. And the Tri-Trade event, we've established that. It was a huge success. We're looking to do that annually, in addition to now using that event to now have great candidates for the work-based learning program during summer employment opportunities. So overall, these are the various partners we're working with. I won't repeat all of them again, but you'll see that ReadyCT is another one of our nonprofits that has been instrumental in helping us work with the CTEC schools, the public high schools in Hartford County, as well as the engineering green technology pathway schools with Pratt & Whitney. So overall, we think we've done a great job with the initiative we took on in Q2. So here are the figures. We are at 7,100 hours for total hours worked from Hartford residents for our participation goal. So we're exceeding our 30% goal. And to date, we've worked a total of 16,700 hours. We started off pretty strong, and we're curving our way back up, so we'll continue to stay above that 30% goal. Next slide, Jason. And for the minority and women businesses, as far as the dollar amounts, we're continuing to exceed our 3% goal for MBEs at 5%, and we've jumped up pretty substantially on our women in business enterprises, where we were, lagging behind a little bit in the first few quarters, but now we've ramped up and we're almost doubling our 5% goal. So we're going to continue to, keep these things as a priority as we move forward.
In closing remarks, as Jason and Jeff have gone through, we have many initiatives going on, projects, the MDC team working on this, engineering, operations, utility services, everyone supporting this, our construction department, our outreach team. Lot of work that's occurring. We're going to continue to occur throughout the duration of the work that we have to complete in North Hartford. We do have, again, meetings coming up. Also, continuous communication with our NRZs. And ultimately, there will be additional communication coming out on the North Branch Park River drainage study that is currently under review with the City of Hartford and MDC, as Jason mentioned. So we'll open it to public comments and questions. Sorry, we'll open for public comments and questions. At this time, there does not appear to be any public comments or questions, so we can adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much for everyone that attended. Jason, Jeff, for your participation. We'll close the meeting. Thank you.
No.